Hello, everybody. We're back again talking about Alex Jones on the Steven Crowder Show, talking about Black Lives Matter. So far, it's just still a bunch of conspiracy theories about the protest group being funded by George Soros and how it's about the Democrats trying to take control of the police, and if not, take control of everything else and remove the police. Just a bunch of crazies and racist people spewing crazy racist stuff.
Point, and of course everyone's going to act unlawfully. But what happens here in Austin with the homeless folks, and grew up in Montreal, where at one point we had more homeless people per capita, I think, than anywhere in North America, or at least it was close. The first person came up, I bought him a coffee. The second person, I don't know, was the yellow taco place, Taco Delight. And then when it's 4, 5, 6 in a 10-minute period, you become desensitized. It dehumanizes people. It doesn't actually help them, it dehumanizes them because they become background noise.
Absolutely. It's just like if you feed
No, you kind of dehumanized them. Just because you're desensitized to people doesn't mean that these people are like background noise or not human anymore. You just decided to start ignoring homeless people.
animals in your backyard, they stop hunting themselves.
Right.
And that's what's happening here.
And of course, we're not comparing homeless people to animals, but we're talking.
No, Alex Jones just compared homeless people to animals. And don't try to save face for Alex Jones, because you don't want to be associated with somebody who's equating homeless people to wild animals.
Talking about the idea that it just becomes white noise where you go, well, usually you might say, hey man, I don't have any
You
cash.
want to see the police department they want to blow up? It's right there.
Okay.
We're almost there.
They're still trying to blow it up?
It is in the official proposal brought forward by the city council and the majority that wants to get rid of the police or defund them to blow up the. In fact, here's Tim. Tim, come over here.
Sorry, I swallowed a bug.
So he should be APD. I know Crowder's having trouble believing it. Am I joking that they officially want to blow this up?
No, so Jimmy Flanagan of the Austin City Council sent a memo out to all his fellow council members, and in that memo that we have a copy of, he literally says that we need to call for the expedited demolition of APD headquarters, the removal of a lot of the commanders and assistant chiefs at APD because they're not playing ball with the city council, and so they want to replace them with civilians handpicked by the city council to oversee such important functions as APD patrol, APD detectives bureau, basically all the important divisions with APD. They want to take police leadership out of those positions and replace them with handpicked city council and mayor.
Well, no, it's not that I didn't believe you. This was going to be my question, and you just answered it. Tim, was it?
Yes,
Tim, you just answered. I was wondering if, they're demolishing it because they're going to move it to a nicer facility. Like now we're moving to a penthouse suite.
No, they actually want to blow it up so they don't have a building.
Right.
And they said that they.
I like how Alex Jones keeps saying blow up, like it's a random explosion, when it's a controlled demolition. So it's not gonna blow up, it's just gonna fall into its own footprint.
Feel like by getting rid of some of the commanders, some of the assistant chiefs, and then whatever leadership is left over that they can't legally get rid of because some of those positions require a sworn law enforcement officer to be in those positions.
Under state law.
So what they're going to do is spread them out to other city buildings already existing. Right?
Okay, so let me explain what's going on. I don't just say Soros because he's a boogeyman. He literally has given over $1 billion to Antifa and Black Lives Matter in the last 6 years. It's on record. He brags about it, but it gets worse.
It's on record, he brags about it. Yet, where are these records, and where is him bragging about giving money to Antifa and Black Lives Matter over the last 6 years? When Black Lives Matter started, 2013? Oh yeah, they've existed for 7 years. It hasn't happened. It's just another one of the claims by the people on the right. They like to throw out that these protest groups are actually funded by these rich people, when in actuality they're not. And why they like to say that is because they're so used to their movements being funded by rich people that all the actual grassroots movements have to be funded by rich people as well.
Worse, he's financed over 500.
What's the best way to cross if we want to see them? Well, I guess we can just show it from across the way.
But Stephen, if you put any of your peaches, put this in there.
No, this is all going in. None of this is going to be edited.
Right. Soros has gotten hundreds of DAs and hundreds of mayors and all these state attorney generals like Letitia James and like the crazy lady in St. Louis who literally arrest and indict people who defend their houses. And so they now have gotten a George Soros guy as the new city attorney who openly says defund the police and who's a public communist.
Right.
So they're putting communists in charge.
Right.
They're almost in control, and now they say they're going to blow up the police station. People are.
I find it funny how George Soros has so much control over like everything that's going on, yet we have like a fascist person as president that he doesn't want in office, supposedly. So what happened to George Soros and all of his power to control the government? It doesn't make any sense how supposedly George Soros is like funding all of these movements and have this much power. Not saying he doesn't have a lot of influence with all his money and stuff, but if he's actually in control of the government, why is a person he doesn't want as president a president?
Like, well, Alex, you're against a police state. I'm against a police state. We're about to have the communists in full control of the police, and to bring them under heel, they're saying we're going to blow up your damn building.
And one thing I wanted to point out here, just because, listen, I'm not a supporter of the Green New Deal, obviously, right? I'm not a neo-environmentalist.
But the left wrecks everything.
But I also don't believe in littering. I don't know about you, I get pissed when I see someone throw something out their
5
window.
years ago, this was all beautiful.
It was beautiful. My brother went to UT. I was going to say, this is probably the dirtiest city. If you guys can see the river that I've seen.
It looks like a hobbit would walk out from under it. But now you go down here, there's needles and feces and hepatitis everywhere. Look at this.
Why don't they have an organization in the city here, if they're talking about community organizing, to just clean stuff
They
up?
get 30.
Yeah, there are organizations and programs to help keep cities clean, as well as to help homeless people. But you got a whole lot of these not in my backyard type of people, like Alex Jones and Steven Crowder, who, whenever these programs actually come about, you got a lot of people trying to do away with them, do away with homeless shelters, and various other things that actually would help homeless people. Like, you got a ton of people that are against the Housing First policy, because they don't believe that homeless people should get houses because they have either a drug problem or a mental health problem or some type of problem that is making them homeless or making it harder to get back into a home. If you give these people a home, they can then work on their mental health issues, their drug addiction issues. They could actually get a job if they have a house, because if you didn't know, for the most part, if an employer knows you're homeless, they can fire you and more than likely will fire you. And those people that have been homeless for a while, it's harder to get a job because people aren't going to hire a homeless person. If you don't have a stable address to get information and stuff sent to, they're not going to hire you.
Something times the money they got 50 years ago for the homeless here or more, and none of it goes to them. The Democrats siphon it all off, and they steal every damn bit of it.
Yeah, this is filthy. This is not what it was. When
You
my
smell
brother
that
went to
piss?
UT. Yeah, I do. I smell that bum piss.
But you know what that bum piss really is? That's the smell of the dander of dust mites. I hate the
mites?
smell.
I don't know. I thought it was just bum piss is bad enough. I think bum piss is worse than dust mites. You have dust
I'm
mites on
allergic
your
to bum
pillows no
piss. I'm
matter
serious.
what.
Wow, no, that's just him saying he's allergic to homeless people. You can't be allergic to bum piss unless you're allergic to piss, which just means you're allergic to urine, which would mean anybody's urine and not just the urine of homeless people. That was him, that was just his small insight into him actually showing that he hates homeless people.
Oh, do you need some water?
Oh my God, I'm serious. I smell that shit. I can't do it.
No, I have some, but let's, I guess we can stop right here in front of the,
Jesus Christ. No, I wasn't putting on an act there. That smell, man.
Really?
You smell that? Jesus.
Yeah, it smelled like pee. You guys want to, let's cross here. I think this is the
It's
only.
not what it is. It's
We're going
dust
to be the
mites.
only people in the city who obey actual crosswalks.
Okay.
So let's, well, the hand says stop, but who really cares at this point?
Hey, usually you just take the highway over now if you want to, you know?
No, I don't want to get on the freeway.
No, I don't either. That's a
I don't
joke.
want to get on a bird scooter on that loop. Hey, is it true the guy who created that one loop to alleviate traffic, the civil engineer, the architect, killed himself?
I didn't know that.
I don't know if it's true or not. Let me ask you this, because we are going to wrap this up here. It's really sad to see what's happened to Austin. I don't recognize the city. Again, my brother went to UT for 4 years. He was at UT when you guys won the big bowl there with Vince Young, who scored lower than statistical random on the QB test.
Here it is. Good shots right here. Keep going.
What do you want to see done?
What do I want to see done with?
What needs to be done right now? What's the biggest problem facing cities like Austin?
We have to recognize that there is a multinational United Nations corporate operation through the WHO and through UNESCO called municipalization, where they come in at the city level and get them to pass carbon taxes and green new deals that shut down all the businesses not owned by inside groups and who consolidate the wealth and power. Then they come in and they put in their county attorneys, their city attorneys, and then they start prosecuting the general public while releasing the criminals, and they destabilize the cities and implode them and then buy up the infrastructure for pennies on the dollar. So what this is an infrastructure takeover of all the major cities in the United States. Then they tell the third world, hey, everything's free, come in, we'll be a sanctuary city.
But
and
my
they
question-
administer all of this replacement migration being brought in.
But what can people watching right now, or people watching
What
who
can
live
they
in,
do?
what
They
can they
can-
do? Because
they
a lot
can-
of people feel helpless right now. Listen, you're in a city, your business gets looted, you're shut down, you can't run a business. Right now, your employees are collecting a check, business owners aren't collecting
Let me
the
tell
same
you
kind
what
of
to
checks.
do.
What can they do?
We're being made to be dependent. Don't follow the mask rules. Don't take their welfare in these cities. Stop following their regulations and rules because they're not Americans. They're globalists that are using your compliance to get rid of the country. We have outlaw criminal government run by the globalists imploding our cities by design, and you must recognize that they're the enemy. You must recognize that this is 21st century warfare.
I just want to say I find it funny how he's saying that the government is bad, yet he's totally for the right-wing government and Trump and all that. So he's not actually against the government, nor does he consider all of it bad. Just certain people that are running the government are bad, or a certain party, i.e. the Democrats.
21st century warfare, and you must decry them and then say don't support any leftist or globalist stores, whether they're small or big, and people should hang a shingle out on their businesses letting people know that they're populist, they're free market, and they're pro-America, and that you're not going to follow their garbage, just like that New Jersey gym that has been reopening regardless of what happens. Those guys are folk heroes. When the government becomes criminal in these blue cities, we have to become Robin Hood and stop following the regulations, and we have to resist them at every turn.
What about, because I will say this, I think that the mask thing is kind of silly because of the way people are using masks. When the CDC was saying don't use masks, I said, well, actually, if you're sick, a mask is a good idea. Long time ago.
Yeah.
I have a problem the way it's being implemented. I disagree in that people out there, I would say, it's not worth the fine, don't disobey the law, but you can still open your businesses while not following the rules.
Well, I mean, in Holland and Sweden, their top scientists say that the masks don't help you.
Right.
Also,
I'm not saying they don't help you, I just don't want people going out there breaking the law and then getting fined.
No, I hear you, but at a certain point,
So I would say wear a mask if you don't want to get fined and then, go to the gym. But
sure, exactly. But they told Rosa Parks sit at the back of the bus. It was the law.
Wow. Now I was going to try to use Rosa Parks as a way to tout his conspiracy theory that, it's somebody's, civil rights not to wear a mask. It's not like, just wear a mask. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt anybody. It actually helps people. Listen to actual health professionals, and the fact that ideas about masks are changing, it's because the novel coronavirus is new, and as we get new information, new procedures need to be followed in order to help better curb the spread of a new disease that humans have not dealt with before. the fact that they're just gonna say some crazy things, and it's just gonna cause problems. They're spouting the same things Trump and other people on the right love to spout about the coronavirus.
And at a certain point, we got to have civil disobedience.
Right.
And so all I'm saying is they're having mass compliance to prepare us for forced inoculations. Gates has funded at MIT and Rice University a digital tattoo that goes under the skin to prove that you've been inoculated. They are establishing world government, and wearing the mask like a hijab or a burqa in Islam is a sign of submission to the globalists. And Fauci has said it's a sign of your submission to them and the medical cartel that's been wrong about everything.
Even Fauci said it's a sign of submission, when in reality he has not ever said that whatsoever. God, it's funny when these people create their own reality and then other people believe it. And it's funny but odd at the same time how it's so possible to easily convince people of an alternative reality that doesn't even exist.
They said 2.2 million people would die. It's 150,000. They count people that die from gunshot wounds and car wrecks in the COVID column. They count the flu. So yes, there's a real virus, and it's not even as bad as the regular pneumonia, and we're being taught this fear and this hysteria, and that's the cover to make the good people be locked down in their houses. Then the Democrats activate all their organizations to come out and take over the country. That's what this pincer attack is.
You know what I see in Austin, too, is I think people don't understand necessarily, like you said, the unintended consequences or intended consequences for some of these COVID regulations. What you have is you have a street where businesses are shut down. You have streets that are desolate. There's no one around. It's like Detroit. You know, that's Detroit, my hometown, where the reason there's so much crime is there's no one there to witness it. You're in a downtown area, and it's almost rural. And you're seeing that here, where one night we were out, we didn't see anyone for, I think it was 6 minutes. We didn't see a single person. And the people who show up are wearing masks. So you have no people, no witnesses, no real police support, no businesses, and complete anonymity. It's got to increase crime.
Well, that's right. It's totally apocalyptic. And I've been to Detroit several times. I was there in the 80s, and it was okay, but a little scary. I was there about 4 years ago for a wedding, and it literally looked like something out of a science fiction dystopia after civilization has collapsed. You add masks to that, and you're right. A lot of Austin now, in the downtown areas, looks like Detroit looks, and it's very sad. But here's something that's really key.
And it didn't. That's pretty fast that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit took decades. This just took a few months.
Right.
So this is an accelerated planned collapse. But here's what I started this off with, and I'd like to end with this if I have time. You remember when I was being deplatformed 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I told the world, you're next, because I was reading the different corporate plans. Now, hundreds and hundreds of doctors, nurses, epidemiologists, virologists, scientists, some of them the heads of major hospitals, come out and say things like, there's hundreds of studies that hydroxychloroquine has like a 99% rate with somebody who gets on it. And then Fauci puts out a Bill Gates study that's been withdrawn for being fraudulent. Even NBC reports that. And he's okay. They use that fake study for the UN to say, we say hydroxychloroquine is not approved, even though it is approved for use. And now even pharmacies won't give it out to many doctors because Fauci says, and the UN says, even though they have the medical degrees. Bill Gates, who's running all this, does not have that medical degree. And since when are hundreds of doctors unable to have press conferences in America,
right.
And they take it off YouTube, they take it off Google, they take it off Twitter, they take it off Facebook, and now they're talking about trying to take Breitbart servers away because they're hosting the video of this. That's why we have banned.video. That's why banned.video's exploded, because all these people that have been banned were able to come there, and that's why we're having videos.
Banned. Okay, I gotta check out that site because you know it's gonna be full of Nazis, and that's gonna be fun to look into, in my opinion.
With 1 million, 2 million views,
yeah.
Because and so that's the future. But now we have the Democrats and deep state and other organizations openly harassing our server companies and telling them you can't carry this. This is dangerous. So they say build your own thing, but then they go after every piece of your infrastructure.
Right.
This is beyond censorship. This is authoritarian takeover of the mind, where now even doctors with medical degrees that are respected aren't allowed to speak because Fauci and the UN and Bill Gates say no.
I'll give you one more. Everyone says trust the experts, right? You're a science denier. Well, I don't think Fauci has actually practiced medicine with patients in 30 years, 40 years. I don't have the exact numbers.
Been there 40.
He hasn't worked with the patient doesn't mean he doesn't have the background or knowledge or whatever So that argument doesn't work out whatsoever. And you guys haven't worked with patients, so try and act like, professionals or whatever. Doesn't work either.
5 years, he's a
45
bureaucrat.
years. Yeah.
And he
by the way,
owns
folks out there,
part-
do the research on Dr. Fauci and the AIDS epidemic and the kind of stuff he was spouting back
Scams.
then. Yeah. And I'm not saying that he doesn't know what he's talking about in certain areas, but I certainly have a problem with doctors who are practicing and actually serving their patients, right? Doctors who've taken the Hippocratic Oath, who are trying to
Stephen,
actually
you're
improve their
right,
lives, and they're not considered experts.
Fauci
That's
owns
the problem.
the patent on 2 of the vaccines.
No.
He owns part of the patent on 2 of them. How is that on a conflict of interest? And it goes further. They've skipped animal trials, never before done, and they're having an 80% rate of people getting sick in these studies. Even CBS News, they've never had these because it's not a regular vaccine where they put an attenuated piece of the virus into you and your body learns to have immunity against it. There's still some side effects, but it's a real technology. This is DNA vaccines that go into the nuclei and reprogram your cell to create a protein.
Wow. No. That's not even what it is. I mean, I haven't really looked at what's going on with the vaccines and stuff, but even I know that stuff like that, that's not what is being used. It is probably not even in existence.
So now you're going to be like a GMO creature if you take these vaccines. Look it up.
Okay. I haven't looked it up, but it sounds pretty scary.
It's absolutely frightening, and so, I mean,
Well, it does scare me, though, that I can observe with my own eyes, and we do know statistically. And like we said, it'd be interesting if people out there, hey, listen, if you guys can find these numbers for us, what percentage of COVID deaths are nursing home related? They stopped keeping record. I haven't seen them from
It was
Michigan.
about
40%.
It was about 42.
But they stopped a long time ago.
47%, yeah.
Yeah. And now, but you can't find those updates.
And now they will not release the numbers.
They won't release crime numbers either. They won't release crime numbers on interracial crime statistics right now. On rape statistics, a lot of these numbers keep changing. That's why we had some Bureau of Justice, or was it Department of Justice or FBI? I think we'll have the overlay here, about who was committing which crimes. Number one cause of death for young black Americans, homicide. We say that because we want to actually help all black lives, not the very, very small percentage.
That's right. We have the FBI statistics. We put them out on Instagram, and Instagram banned them, where it shows 10-to-1 black on white crime.
Yeah, but they've stopped recording them that way. I think, were those 2008 statistics or 2012? Because they've changed the way they do statistics, and we can't find some. And that's what's really concerning to me. If we're going to talk about, listen, silencing information, we should all be on board with at least providing information to the
Well,
public.
the truth is, the Democrat cities is where everybody's getting killed, no matter what color they are.
Right.
And the most dangerous place for a black person's in their mother's womb. And thank God, Margaret Sanger's main.
The most dangerous place for a black person is in their mother's womb. Because, abortion is all about, to get the system to kill black people. It's just, God, I hate when these people, like Alex Jones and people on the right, pretend to care about black people, when in all actuality, they could care less. Which is why when cops do kill black people, they don't care whatsoever.
Original Planned Parenthood in New York took her name off of it because she actually said black people need to be exterminated as weeds. So how is her name on the Planned Parenthood buildings? So the left's finally figuring out, hey, this is somebody that said kill all the black people, but she's supposedly a liberal.
Right.
I mean, Margaret Sanger, Hitler gave her awards and said, what I know from you.
Right.
So Margaret Sanger inspired Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Henry Ford being anti-Semitic, which we know he had kind of wrote some letters there to the Nazis, but still wasn't actually exterminating black people in record numbers as the plan we saw carried out by Margaret Sanger. If you're going to take down memorials for Jefferson or Abraham Lincoln, for God's sake, you got to take that name off the marquee.
Well, her name would be first. I mean, this is a woman that said,
"Oh, of course,
we need to exterminate the black race."
Yes.
She said, okay, so this is the woman the left puts on the cover of Time Magazine and Newsweek. It shows what's sick. Cold Springs Harbor, run by all these liberals up in New York. That's the main eugenics base.
Right.
That's what Bill Gates is into. That's what his dad was into. His dad ran Planned Parenthood. Look at Cold Springs Harbor.
Yeah, well, I think you just even look into Planned Parenthood as a whole, it's bad enough. It's getting pretty hot, Alex. Let's tell them one last time where to find you. I really appreciate you making the time.
I just want to say this is awesome, brother. It's good to see you.
No, thank you. I'm glad. We've always had you on. And, if you see me banned from YouTube.
You've not been a coward like almost everybody else has been a coward. You had me on back when they were actually restricting people that did have me on. Now, we kind of broke through the blockade so people don't get in trouble to interview us. But
do they not? We get in trouble no matter what we do, so it's kind of white noise again.
Yeah, well, here
We got in trouble for the Chaz stream. They took that down on Facebook because they said we were inciting violence. Where we went to Chaz, we actually rented out Raz Simone. We rented out his Airbnb.
Yeah, you're not supposed to show what's happening.
Yeah, they declared that. So, having an Alex Jones video ban ain't going to mean all that much to me.
Well, just remember, folks, all those doctor videos, and if he ever gets banned, God forbid, they're all at banned.video and newswars and infowars.com. And this guy's awesome. Support him and be part of the Mug Club. Get one of these awesome T-shirts right here, because this is one of the few guys out there that's not a coward.
Let's get him some water and get him away from the, what is it, hobo piss dander? What's it called?
Well, I mean, I
Dust mites.
Yes.
They live in hobo piss? We'll talk about this
I've
off
talked
air.
to the EMS and I've talked.
That's hilarious, because even Steven Crowder like kind of confused about his reaction to the smell of pee. Does the dander live in hobo piss? No, dander doesn't live in pee. It's just freaking hilarious.
Talk to medical doctors, and what makes you nauseated, it's not just the smell of the piss. What we call the smell of bum piss, that has that sweet, nauseating smell.
Yeah, I wouldn't say sweet.
Well, it does. It has it's a sweet stench. It makes me want to throw up like rotten meat. It is the crap of dust mites.
Ugh.
Wow. So, is he saying that dust mites and bum urine mixed together is making this smell that makes him want to throw up? Because that doesn't actually happen. Because in order for that to somehow happen in some way, they would have to be sleeping in puddles of urine, which still wouldn't cause enough dandruff from the scalp to fall off and mix with urine and make some kind of smell. He's trying to justify his hatred for homeless people and the smell of urine. He, has a mental reaction to, so he makes himself want to throw up.
And that smell just, man, they wanted to torture me. I shouldn't be, they would lock me up.
Yeah,
in
let's
the
not
room.
get. Yeah, they could waterboard you with hobo piss. Is it exclusive to bum piss as opposed
By
to?
the way,
normal?
where are all these loving liberals? We saw women out there on the ground with sores all over their bodies like Day of the Dead zombies. And we have shanty towns we drive. Hell, there's a giant shanty town only 100 yards away. You want to see that in with that?
I don't want to go to the shanty town.
Well, let's just.
No, we ended on bum piss. You and I are just talking now. You're not going to beat dust mite bum piss, Alex.
Texas and America are away. That woman saying F America. Look at her. That woman saying F America.
Wow, communist slob goblin? That could just be some random poor person or just a homeless person, and they want to call him a communist slob goblin because it's the person looks poor or homeless. That's, and see, this is why his entire talks of like there being homelessness and stuff is just him pretending to care. He hates homeless people and would rather see them dead.
Yeah, you hate America, you slob. Go to North Korea, you slob. See that? There's an Austinite, a Californian that came here saying F America, USA, USA. Look at that slob. Go interview her.
And Alex Jones is supposed to be some kind of freedom fighter, enlightened person. Nah, he's just walking human garbage is all he is. Both him and Steven Crowder.